Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. Common questions about the advanced child tax credit payments. COVID tax tip 2021-117, August 11th, 2021. The advanced child tax credit allows qualifying families to receive early payments of the tax credit many people may claim on their 2021 tax return during the 2022 tax filing season. So let's just recap the advanced child tax credit, and then we'll go into some of the changes or resources they have for it at this point in time. The IRS projecting forward some problems that they might foresee for a credit that is new, in that the advanced portion is new for it. And of course, they have these advanced payments, which adds a little bit of difficulty to the comprehension of what exactly is going on here. So normally, when you think about the child tax credit, you file the tax return, then you get the child tax credit, which would be a credit, which would increase the refund or lower the amount due at that point in time. In prior years, I believe it was around $2,000 per child, possibly, that was a qualifying child. Now, for 2021 tax year, which we wouldn't be filing for until 2022 by April 15th of 2022, they have both increased the amount of the credit, and then they've made a portion of it advanced, meaning we're going to get the payment now, even though we're not going to be filing the tax return until 2022 by April 15th. This is a common type of technique that they've been putting into place lately. This is how they did the stimulus credits that were advance payments of the recovery rebate credit. They had an idea about this in terms of the payments for the reductions of insurance amounts if you're in the insurance marketplace, and so on. So we're getting kind of used to this type of thing, although you could see typical types of problems that would be related to it that they're trying to address as they roll this thing out. So note, one of the issues is just the complexity of how would they know what the credit is until you file the tax return at the end of 2021 or in 2022 for the year of 2021. One way they dealt with that is they made more of the credit or all of the credit refundable, so we don't have that kind of limit that would shorten the amount of the credit. They also increased the credit because another issue, another problem would be if people are not used to getting the credit during the year and they're used to getting a credit when they file their tax return, they're probably expecting to have that benefit when they file the tax return. So what they actually did, it looks like they increased the credit so that they can take half of it and then allocate it out as prepayments, and you'd still get a benefit when you file the tax return. That's pretty large benefit in a similar fashion that people have basically seen before. And that'll make the calculation of the credit a bit easier. Then, in essence, they took half of it, I believe, taking what the credit would be, dividing it by 2, then allocating it out on a monthly basis, I believe, for 6 payments during the current year in the prepayment portion. Now, the typical kind of problems you can foresee with this would be, well, what if they send it, do they have the information to send it out? They should, if they have the prior tax return or the information from some other tool that they could put up to get the information. Should be fairly basic information. Do they have the right payment address to send the money out or the right banking information? Can they set up a tool to change that? They could still get the payment wrong, because you could think of situations where the prior year tax return had a dependent on it, but the current year doesn't, especially in split custody situations where that could be the case, and in cases where the income limitation is an issue. So is there any way that you can opt in or opt out kind of question that would typically be there? And of course, at the end of the year, you can have a situation where you're going to have to determine how much you actually got paid in the prepayments, because you're going to have to compare that to the actual credit that you will then file at the 2022 for the year in 2021 to actually figure out how much of the credit you're still going to get when you file the tax return. So it's still, although somewhat simplified, they're getting better at this kind of thing, somewhat confusing too, and they're putting together these tools to deal with that confusion. So here we go. The IRS will disperse these advance payments monthly through December 2021. Here are some details to help people better understand these payments. Who is a qualifying child for the purposes of the advanced child tax credit payment? For tax year 2021, a qualifying child is an individual who does not turn 18 before January 1st, 2022 and meets these requirements. The individual is the taxpayer's son, daughter, stepchild, eligible foster child, brother, sister, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, half-sister, or descendant such as a grandchild, niece, or nephew. The individual does not provide more than one half of his or her own support during 2021, so you're supporting over the one half. Then the individual lives with the taxpayer for more than one half of the tax year 2021. The exception to this requirement, see publication 972, Child Tax Credit and Credit for Other Dependents. There's a link to that here if you want to get more detail on that. The individual is properly claimed as the taxpayer's dependent. For more information about how to do this, see publication 501, Dependent Standard Deduction and Filing Information. There's a link to that here. The individual does not file a joint return with individual's spouse for tax year 2021, so they're not married filing joint, or file it only to claim a refund or withheld income tax or estimated tax paid. The individual was a U.S. citizen, U.S. national, or U.S. resident alien. For more information on this condition, see publication 519, U.S. Tax Guide for Aliens. There's a link to that here. What should someone do if they don't want to receive advanced child tax credit payments? So you might be saying, hey, I don't want to get the advance payment. And you might say, well, why in the world would you not want to get advance payments? Well, maybe you're not qualified for the advance payment and you know that, but based on the last year's information, they might think that you are sending out the advance payments that you would think if they do everything, you would think if you got payments you don't qualify for, you'd have to pay them back when you file the tax return, which could happen if, for example, on the prior year tax return, 2020, that they're using to make prepayments for 2021, you had a dependent which you're not going to be claiming in 2021, possibly due to joint custody or something like that, where the dependent is on one tax return one year, another tax return the other year, or your income was higher in 2021, taking you above the threshold to allow you to take the credit, then you might not have the credit, or you might just be in a situation where you're moving around or you don't want to deal with the prepayments. You might think it'd be easier to just get the payments when you file the tax return. You might want to apply the payments to your prepayments to the estimated payments to help you with your calculation if you have to make estimated payments. So there's various reasons where you might not want the credits to be sent out at this point. And so here's what you do in those instances. Anyone who does not want to receive monthly advanced child tax credit payments because they would rather claim the full credit when they file their 2021 tax return, or because they know they will not be eligible for the credit in 2021, can unenroll through the Child Tax Credit Unpaid portal. And there's a link to that here. The thing that's funny here, and I don't recommend, obviously, if you don't qualify for the payment, then I would think it would be the best option not to take the payment. That's basically what I would do, instead of having a situation where you're going to file the tax return and you owe it back. But to be honest with you, seeing things that the IRS has done in the past, I wouldn't be exactly surprised if at the end of the year they basically said, anybody who claimed the credit and they didn't qualify for it, we're just going to let you keep the money anyway. They kind of did that on some things in the past, including I believe they did that kind of thing with the prepayments for the insurance if you're in the health marketplace. So which gives a kind of a bad incentive, I would think. So like if you got the advanced child tax credit and then you don't qualify for it because you're over the threshold or because you no longer claim that person as a dependent, I could almost see the IRS at this point just saying, that's okay, that's fine. Which I wouldn't bet on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So if you don't qualify for it, I would, of course, if it were me, I would take it off and make sure that my reporting is proper at this point in time. But again, if you got the money, I wouldn't be surprised if they just waived it. In any case, people can unenroll at any time, but deadlines apply each month for the update to take effect for the next payment. For people married and filing jointly, they and their spouse must unenroll using the Child Tax Credit Update portal. If only one person unenrolls, they will still receive half the normal payment. So both have to unenroll to get the full payment removed. And you can get to the portal on irs.gov if you want to go there. So similarly, if you are changing bank account information, both of you must make the update so both halves of your payments go to the new account. Will receiving advanced child tax credit payments affect other government benefits? So is it going to impact? And this is one of the common questions, which is kind of, again, it's kind of just this weird situation that you have different kind of programs that can be impacting each other, meaning if your income goes up, programs that are benefit programs are usually disincentivizing for work, which is kind of a problem with those kind of programs. At the same time, they're beneficial, they're trying to help, but at the same time, they are disincentivizing because as income goes up, you lose the benefits, which is a disincentive to have income go up. So anytime you get income, then the question is, well, is that gonna ban me from these other programs where I'm getting a benefit from it? Because now I've got this overlap of programs where I'm getting a benefit over here. Does that mean that I lose the other benefits somewhere else due to my income going up or something like that? So they're saying no, advanced child tax credit payments cannot be counted as income when determining if someone is eligible for benefits or assistance or how much they can receive under any federal, state, or local program financed in whole or in part with federal funds. These programs cannot count advanced child tax credit payments as a resource when determining eligibility for at least 12 months after payments are received. Then it says, are advanced child tax credit payments taxable? So are they taxable? No, these payments are not income and will not be reported as income on the taxpayer's 2021 tax return. These payments are advance payments of a person's tax year 2021 child tax credit. So they are going to have an impact on the tax return, but not as income. You're not being charged income on it. And again, if you're looking at other types of programs, they might be looking at your tax return to kind of think about your income level. They might be using, the AGI level, page 1 of the 1040 to verify your income or something like that. It's not going to be impacting page 1 of the 1040. It will be impacting page 2 because if you have the child tax credit, normally it would be calculated in the credit area, which is a dollar for dollar return. And in prior years, I believe it was like $2,000 per child. Now they've increased it to whatever it's going to be, and it's going to be whatever it is when you calculate it. But they're also going to have to apply out the prepayments. So you're going to calculate the credit on page 2. It's not going to be part of income. It's going to be a credit. And then you're going to reduce the amount of credit by the amount of the advance payments that you already got, and then figure out how much you're gonna get at that point, which I believe should be half of the total calculation at that point, which has been increased from the prior year. So they basically increased the tax credit, and then they cut it in half, and then they sent out half of it, or they're trying to send out half of it now as prepayments. So when you calculate the credit, you'll have a new higher amount, but then you'll have to subtract out the half of it generally that you got in prepayments. That's my interpretation, what I believe is going to have happen when you file the tax return in 2022. So it's going to be great. You got that to look forward to, filing that one. It's a little bit more difficult, but whatever. Here we go. However, the total amount of advanced child tax credit payments someone receives is based on the IRS's estimate of their 2021 child tax credit. Generally, the IRS issues information from previous tax returns to calculate a person's estimate. If the total is greater than the child tax credit amount they can claim on their 2021 tax return, they may have to repay the excess amount on their 2021 tax return. So in other words, they're basing the credit on the prior return, which is an estimate. So if for whatever reason the estimate is higher, the estimate should be fairly straightforward because they're just basing it on, do you have a child that's under 17 based on the prior year? You would think that if you did, that you'd have the same child there in the next year generally, and what's your income level? But, if your income level goes up above the threshold, you could end up in a situation where you wouldn't qualify for as much of the credit. And again, if you have that situation where the child will no longer be on your return in 2021, then it's possible that you get advance payments greater than the amount that you should have claimed, that you would actually calculate on the 2021 taxes when you calculate it, which you would think, and they're saying right now, could result in a repayment of the excess amount. So that's what I would go with at this point in time. But again, I have seen in the past, I believe, at least with the help with the insurance situation that they kind of waived that that portion with regard when in a similar situation. So I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year they said, if it comes out that you owe money, then we're just going to waive that. I wouldn't count on that, but like I say, I wouldn't be, and I wouldn't count on it, but I wouldn't be surprised. In any case, for example, if someone received advanced child tax credit payments for 2 qualifying children claimed on their 2020 tax return, but they no longer have qualifying children in 2021, the advance payments they received are added to their 2021 income tax unless they qualify for the repayment protection. And there's a link to the repayment protection item here.